So now that
Okay.
I'm unmuted, thank you, Meryl, for asking us to speak today. We're excited to be here. I'm Jan Brito and my business partner, Laura Quigley. We are Brito Associates of Compass, based in Chevy Chase, Maryland. We specialize and actually have a passion for working with seniors. Early on in our careers, we've each been licensed around 16 years, but very early on, we got the Seniors Real Estate Specialist designation. And then 2 years ago, I discovered the Seniors Real Estate Institute, which offers a sort of graduate level course, resulting in a designation called the Senior Certified Housing Professional. It took us about a year to get through the course. It was very, very involved. And we're here today to share with you some of what we learned in that course and how we can hopefully partner with many of you to better serve our clients. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about what is a certified senior housing professional, how to obtain the certification, creating a vetted team of resources for our clients, you folks, and partnering with you. And then we want to talk about how we're different, because there are 1.4 million realtors in the United States today, and many who claim to be senior specialists, but we'd like you to understand what makes us different.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is a senior certified housing professional. A lot of you have probably heard of the other designation from the National Association from Realtors. It's the Senior Real Estate Specialist. And that's a great designation. It definitely shows that the realtor is interested in this population and in serving this clientele. It's about a one-day class. And it's kind of like gives you a taste for what you need to be able to do. What we've taken, the certified senior housing professional, is like, think of like a master's degree above that, because it's taken us seriously over a year. And it's not only classroom training, it's if to be a certified senior housing professional, you have to be accepted by the Institute, and you have to actually, at the end, pass a board review with other realtors across the nation who have this certification. And what they're looking for is, we can all study books, but do you have the passion for it? And do you have the ability? So this is sort of what it looked like. The first two sections were classroom work. Unfortunately, with COVID, it couldn't be in person, but lots of videos, lots of classroom work, role playing, exams with each section. I felt like I was back at university. And then when you got through that part, part 3 was the business blueprint. And that was a series of activities that we had to complete out in the senior world with our clients, with care providers, visiting communities, really understanding, like, if we're going to serve this market, we need to be the go-to resource for our clients. And the best way to do that is to know what services are out there. We had an exam, which was terrifying to me. Then we had to submit references. We had to submit up to 10, 10 references, people that were willing to actually be interviewed by the Institute. Wow. To confirm that, we were who we said we were. And then on top of that, we had to provide real estate sales production history, meaning that we know the real estate piece. We had to prove we know the real estate piece, that we've been in the business, that we've sold a certain production level, but then the additional piece is, how do we serve these clients? And then, as I mentioned, ultimately we had to do the board review. All in all, I would say it was a really fun experience, and there's ongoing training. There's once a month mastermind classes with other certified senior housing professionals across the nation. And then we have an upcoming conference in Oklahoma City, which is coming up in October. So, getting to know your client. These are some interesting statistics, and a few we batted around while we were waiting to start the program. But in 2030, 72 million Americans will be 65 or over, representing 20% of the overall population. Part of what we needed to do was get to know our inventory, which included touring many different types of senior communities in the area. And understanding the process and how to best serve our clients, understanding their decision-making process. And then, of course, bringing professionalism into the picture and doing the right thing.
Now, this is a very interesting chart we wanted to share with you. So you can see as we progress the number of seniors that will increase because we're living longer. So many of you probably know, in terms of demographics, the three different groups that are in the senior world. Old is considered 65 to 74. Old is considered 75 to 84. And oldest old is over 85. And did you know there are more than 72,000 Americans over the age of 100? Those are the ones we know about. And senior adults are expected to move out of an estimated 15 million housing units between 2020 and 2030. The average age of assisted living residents is 86 years old. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning, and I think that was a pretty accurate stat. Although someone mentioned it might be skewing younger now.
Well, I can tell you for a fact it's younger.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your source for that? I'm just
This
curious.
was the Seniors Real Estate Institute that we took the course from.
Well, then
Now,
I'd be curious as to where they're getting their information.
yeah, I'll follow up with Nikki Buckaloo out of curiosity. But thank you
You
for
could
that.
talk to any
Okay.
Department of Aging and they would give you a younger number.
Okay. So a significant percentage of homes built over 2 decades ago are owned by people over age 85 who are preparing for the next phase of their life. So Laura, let's go on to the next slide.
Okay. So one of the things that we were required to do was to actually visit in-person communities. And as you guys all know, I am kind of preaching to the choir here. These are all the different types of communities. It was a little challenging with COVID because things were restricted for a while, but we tried to do this in a way that we had personal introductions, wasn't cold calling, because we wanted the communities that we went to visit to understand that our purpose was to really learn about their community. I mean, obviously down the road, if they like us and want to refer people to us, that would be great. But it's really more for our education so that when we go out and sit with our clients and their families and they start talking about that overwhelming feeling of what to do next, that we can say, well, here, have you thought of this community? So we have a very extensive database of all the communities we visited. And my little plug at the bottom is if there's any communities on the call today that we have missed, please let us know. We really want to come see you.
And part of our criteria for the course was to document all of these tours. So we've created an extensive database with all the information in it. And it's an ongoing process. So if anyone's on the call from a community we haven't yet visited, please do reach out for us. We'd love to tour your community.
One of the other things that we had to study in the course, and it's kind of interesting because I believe this matrix applies to a lot of us in our lives making decisions, but this is a decision-making matrix on the different types of clients that we're going to meet with. Anywhere from someone who has high urgency because they need to move because of an illness or a fall, and they have high motivation, to the other end of the chart where they have no urgency, no motivation, and they just want to start learning about the process. So through this, we've come to understand that this is a process that takes time, and we're going to be in it for the long haul, and we will be with them during this process. So oftentimes when Jan and I go out for a first appointment, maybe a family member has called us in and said, we want to list mom's house. Well, when we get there, very often we just have to take that real estate hat off and put it aside because that's really not what's happening. And we need to understand and communicate with the family what's happening in the home. And maybe this is a situation where it's going to take quite a while and we need to provide resources, contacts for them to keep the family members safe while they're in the home. So this was, I mentioned our blueprint. This was sort of where we defined our why. Why do we want to do this? So those 38 tasks we had to do, it did include local demographic research, academic research, as I mentioned, reading books. The David Solis book on how to communicate with seniors how to talk to seniors is just life-saving. If you haven't read that, that's amazing. We did community tours. We also did focus groups where we met with groups of seniors, people who had moved into communities to try to understand their decision-making process. How long did it take? What were the key factors to help them make a decision? And we also met with a group of seniors who have said, no, we're never moving. We're staying home. And so we wanted to talk to them about, well, okay, then what sort of services are you going to need to stay safe in your home? As Jan mentioned, we have a fantastic resource database at this point, but it's really important that we continue to expand our database and our service providers. And that's really where you all come into it today.
So I just wanted to share with you from one of the focus groups we did at a senior community. It was interesting that one of the gentlemen said he had put his name on the waiting list 10 years ahead of time. So that's planning ahead. So we thought that was very interesting. So here are some of our must-have team members: downsizing professionals and move managers, professional movers, care managers, estate liquidators, elder law, estate and trust attorneys, insurance providers, financial planners. You can read the list. It's quite extensive. And I know many of these categories are members of Senior Services Alliance, and many of you we have connected with, and we thank you for that, but we're also looking to make new relationships. So we have certain criteria for our team members. We actually vet our team members and have one-on-ones and get to know you better before we refer to you. We're looking for people that will treat our clients with dignity and respect. People who will look the client in the eye and speak directly to them. People that use empowering, not condescending language. People who understand and appreciate senior living options as positive alternatives. People who advocate for our clients when they see a potential concern. People who can stand behind their work. People who provide written, detailed, legible estimates and will provide references and are properly insured.
The way I think about this is a team member has to be somebody that I would introduce to my mom. And I bet the rest of you feel the same way. You know, you want to work with people that you would entrust your own family to. So it takes us a little while to get to know everyone. And we sort of feel like you should take a little while to get to know us too, if we're going to work together.
So some of the ways we can partner, let's meet and get to know each other better, whether it's on Zoom or for coffee in person. We'd be happy to add you to our resource list for our clients. We also have a series of over 20 different seminar topics that we can offer to communities, to the public, to care managers, whoever might be interested. And some of those topics would require partnering with other members to help present the information. We could co-host a seminar at your community or your business location. And then if anyone has any other thoughts or ideas on ways we can partner, we're all ears. So,
like, does this sound appealing to anybody on the call?
Yeah, yeah.
Does anybody have any other ideas? Or we can brainstorm now, we can brainstorm later, but you know, we just think there's a lot of opportunities out there to work together.
And we're so glad we found Senior Services Alliance. It has been very educational for us, and we've made a lot of great contacts, met a lot of great people.
I'd like to add, you've just laid all the cards out on the table in black and white, if you want to put it that way. You've encompassed everything that we represent, and we're very happy that you are part of our partnership, if you want to call it that. So thank you.
Part of the family.
Thank you.
We like that. And all of you guys have been very warm and welcoming to us, inviting us to do this presentation, but also giving us counsel and advice on how to be better at what we do. So we greatly appreciate that, because you guys have been in this world probably a lot longer than we have. I mean, we know like I said, we know the real estate side, but effectively working and treating all of our clients with dignity and respect is utmost, you know, in our minds.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah.
How many other, or do you know how many other real estate agents have completed this educational process? I mean, do you have a lot of competition right now?
Well, not in our local area. Not in our local area. The Institute is based in Oklahoma, and there's CSHPs all around the country. In the Mid-Atlantic region, I believe there's only one or two, maybe, in addition to us.
Right.
So it's not widely known. And for the realtors who may be on this call, we'd like to share the information about the Institute with you in case you have an interest in obtaining the designation and getting the additional education. I mean, there's so many people who need our services. There can't be too many, you know what I mean? And we're not concerned about competition. We want to be able to serve our clients and know that there are other realtors like us out there who can do the same.
And what I like about the designation also is because there are other realtors with our designation across the country, we have a great referral network. So if you have clients who are moving to another region or moving from another region, we have people that we can connect you with that have this same level of training. And as Jen said, competitions, we're not worried about competition. Just like in real estate, there's a lot of clients out there. We come from a position of,
abundance. There's plenty to go around.
Abundance. And yeah. And if there's other realtors who want to learn about this, we're happy to teach them and get them on board so they can serve clients the same way.
Yeah.
So one of the things.
Question?
Oh, sure.
Who pays for your services?
Well, when we list a home, it's the seller who pays the commission, but all the services that are offered up to the point where they actually list with us, and it could be 2 or 3 years from the initial meeting, it's complimentary. We're actually also going through senior downsizing coaching training right now, so we can offer that as an additional service. The ultimate goal is to be of service to someone for whenever they need us. And if it results in a sale, that's fantastic. But we're passionate about this and we want to be able to serve clients at their speed and at their pace.
Okay. The reason I asked that is that I've seen it twofold. Back in the dark ages from the mid 80s to early 2000, I too was a realtor, and the realtor, that senior thing, I think did exist, or maybe in the late 90s, if I remember correctly.
Around for a while.
The other one I don't think even existed, and I think it's a fabulous idea. But there were people like me who, because we did odd jobs like Avon, or we played our flutes at places, I had kind of like a cheater's access, if you will. So a lot of my referrals actually came from the local senior centers.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were old Avon customers. I was also dealing in communities like Catonsville, Ellicott City, where you had tons of original homeowners. So they were but particularly the widows, they were just lost at sea. I really felt for them. The reason I'm asking this now is that a lot of the seniors, they may have already sold their home and now they're living in places like Parkview or whatever, where it might be a lower subsidy or subsidized apartment area. But the moment they need their activities of daily living, if you will, are compromised, you're only dealing with people who have houses to sell?
Typically, that's the case.
Okay, because I found out that I could go on the side, if you will. The big boys, 5-star, H.H. Hunt, just to name a few, I think Sunrise, would pay a quote unquote referral fee. And so I would never charge my quote unquote buyer clients or my tenants. I would protect them under buyer agency so that I could, really take care of them. But I love the fact that you guys are learning the practicums and going through this. I wish I had that, because I had to kind of step through the muck the hard way, particularly. And I'm curious too, at least in my area, the vast majority of the assisted livings out there are 5 beds and less. They can't afford to advertise. And I was curious about the line you said about vetting for properly insured.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
what do you mean by that? Because assisted living the only insurance I know they take is long-term care.
That refers more to contractors that we might bring in.
Oh, okay.
Trades.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks.
Sure. One of the things that Nikki Buckaloo, who created the Seniors Real Estate Institute, constantly drills into our head is that we are different. Why are we different? Well, we're committed to this work. We're all about seniors. We're an expert advisor, a reliable and resourceful project manager. We like to think we're enjoyable to work with. We're passionate about this. We're highly competent and skilled, and we are relationship centered. Over the last decade, we found ourselves working with more and more mature adults and their children, which is what led us to look for this sort of training. And it's just been so enlightening and helpful. And so because we're in this space, we're attracting more and more of that business. So it's been very enjoyable.
Yep, I would tack onto that and say that it's like whatever you put out there comes your way. And that's really been happening for us. And we just felt that we weren't prepared for it. You know, like I've had to talk to, had it in my own family. And I wish I had had this training so that I would have talked more effectively with my parents when I was trying to move them, through this process. So it's been sort of life-changing for me. And Jen, I also feel like we're at a point in our careers where we want to give back. And this is a really good way to do that and to feel good about, we have these real estate skills. We work for a phenomenal brokerage that allows us to offer over and above, on the real estate side. And now we can help, I think, people who need it the most.
Speaking of our brokerage, one of the programs we should probably mention is one called Concierge, where if the family would like to make improvements to the home such that it sells quicker and for more money, perhaps to fund the senior community they're moving to, we have a program that will provide the funds up front to make the improvements, and the homeowner simply reimburses us at the closing table. There's no charge for it. There's no interest. You simply pay what the contractor invoices you for. And that can be a real game changer and a lifesaver for many families. So we love being able to offer that.
I'd like to add, I am in the process of selling my house, and I was able to utilize that program. And I'm not, upstepping you, but what they do is they take a percentage of your sales price, whatever that percentage is, and that's the maximum that they will allow for you to charge up against the profit of the house. It is kind of on the minimal side, but I can understand the risk that they're taking. But it's a wonderful program, for not having to tie up your money in items that have to be paid for before the house is sold.
Right. Our criteria is we will offer 5% of the projected sale price, and taking into consideration if there's a mortgage balance. But in most cases, with a lot of these folks, there is none any longer.
Okay.
So.
You just taught me something that I didn't know. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I'd like to add something else. Somebody had brought up a question about having to pay for these services. I look at what Jan and Laura are doing as they're educating themselves to provide a better product. After all, we all went to school to learn our field of study to be better at it. And this is exactly what they're doing. They're making themselves better. They're making themselves more well-educated in an area that needs a lot of help. I think the world of this whole situation. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Meryl. Yeah, so I know that in presentations, they say put minimal words on a slide. So this is not a great slide, but I couldn't make it any shorter because this is sort of our value proposition and who we believe we are and who we want to project to the world on how we want to serve people.
Well, let me just say real quick.
So
Did we talk
I'm
about?
sorry, I'm getting
Maybe
feedback.
if you're not speaking, you could mute, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm not gonna read it, but it's just our whole focus is to help the seniors and their families not be overwhelmed by this. This can actually be an enjoyable experience. And I personally have found throughout my real estate career, if you can get people excited about where they're going, the rest can fall into place. So we want to simplify the process. We want to have, our network of support people behind us, if they need a downsizing person, if maybe they need someone to make the home safe, moving people, like the whole pack, everything that they could possibly need. We want to be able to say, we've got that for you. And to help the kids so that they can focus on their time with their parents through the process, not being stressed out about the actual activities that have to take place. And then the whole, as Jan mentioned, we do work for a brokerage that allows us to offer the concierge program, which again can be a game changer. And then we also have bridge loan program. And I've worked with clients who maybe had to put that large down payment down into a continuing care community, but they needed the money out of their home to do that. We have a program that allows them to do a bridge loan, which is phenomenal. So this is sort of us, and we're happy to share the presentation with anyone, afterwards, if you'd like. And then this is just us. And we like to say we want people to be overjoyed, not overwhelmed. And I know I've said that a lot, but it's really ingrained in us on who we want to be.
Yes, overwhelm is a common emotion felt by folks in this situation, of course, because there's so much to think about, so many details. That's why it can take 2 to 3 years from the moment we meet someone before they're actually ready to make a move. And that's okay. We're into long-term relationships.
And I wanted to say one of the most delightful things that recently happened to me is I helped a family who had to move their mom out of state, and both of the family members lived out of state. So I was able to do everything for them. We did concierge. They were able to get the funds they needed for their mom. Sadly, their mom has passed away, and they're having a memorial service in 2 weeks, and they invited me. And I was like, that's feeling like you're part of their family. I never met mom, but we just formed such a strong bond and such a great relationship that of course I want to go, and support this family. So it just gave me a lot of joy. Yeah. So we have, I know we talk fast, but I'm from New York. I can't help it. I'm sorry. But we're open for questions. I can stop screen sharing and we can just talk if that